Imagine waking up to the news that one of Europe's major powers, France, has just lost its prime minister. Again! This isn't just political drama, it's a political earthquake with global ripples. Today, on the GeoInsight, we're diving deep into the sudden resignation of Sébastien Lecornu as France's prime minister, uncovering the forces tearing at the heart of French politics and exploring what this means for Europe and the world. If you're interested in how political crises abroad shape what happens right here in the United States, you're in the right place. Stay till the end, there's a lot more beneath the headlines. On October 6, 2025, France was rocked by a dramatic announcement. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu had resigned after less than a year in office. The news hit headlines everywhere. CNN, BBC News, CBS News, Al Jazeera, all reporting on what led to this stunning political exit. Lecornu's resignation comes after weeks of intensifying pressure from opposition parties, rising public discontent, and mounting challenges for President Emmanuel Macron. In the words of one analyst, France is heading toward its most uncertain era in recent memory. But why did Lecornu resign? And why now? Let's back up for context. France has always been a nation with fierce political debates, but in 2025, these tensions are at boiling point. Over the past year, economic growth has faltered, social unrest has flared, and the far-right national rally, led by Marine Le Pen, has gained significant traction. Lecornu, a longtime Macron ally and former defense minister, was seen as a safe pair of hands. But even he couldn't steer France through a series of crises. Escalating strikes and street protests, over pension reforms and cost of living issues, millions marched, sometimes violently, echoing the Yellow Vest movement. Political fragmentation. Macron's centrist coalition struggled to pass major legislation as rival parties blocked reforms at every turn. Rising populism. Le Pen's national rally surged in popularity, not just in rural strongholds, but surprisingly in Paris and other big cities as well. This unstable environment made governing nearly impossible. Lecornu, facing an uphill battle, finally gave in to pressure from both within his own party and aggressive opposition. Let's break down the three main figures shaping France's current crisis. Emmanuel Macron. Once hailed as the last centrist hope, Macron now looks embattled. His party lost its parliamentary majority last year, leaving reforms in limbo. Macron needed Lecornu as a steady hand, but now he's left scrambling for a new PM. Sébastien Lecornu, an experienced technocrat, tried to walk the tightrope between reform and appeasement. His resignation is a public admission of how bad things have gotten. Marine Le Pen, the far-right leader, has transformed National Rally from a fringe anti-immigration party into a mainstream force. With Lecornu gone, Le Pen is calling for snap elections and claims the voice of the people is finally being heard. In France, the resignation of a prime minister doesn't automatically trigger elections. The president nominates a replacement. But Macron now faces two brutal problems. One, finding a PM who can command parliamentary support. With the current split, hardly anyone can survive the opposition attacks. And two, avoiding snap parliamentary elections. Le Pen and other rivals are already demanding new polls, hoping chaos will lead voters to flip against Macron's centrist vision. Journalists from Al Jazeera describe the mood as paralysis and panic across French political circles, with Macron reportedly meeting with senior advisors through the night. While headlines focus on Lecornu's exit, the real drama is behind closed doors. There are deep divisions within Macron's own party. Younger members want bolder reforms, older ones prefer stability. The opposition bloc. Le Pen's national rally is joined by left-wing socialists in calling for change, united mainly by their hatred of Macron. The French public. Polls show historic lows for government trust, and more than half the country favors either the far-right or far-left opposition. This isn't a normal resignation. It's more like the final thread snapping in an unraveling political sweater. So why should Americans care about a government shakeup thousands of miles away? France is still a global heavyweight. NATO and defense? Uncertainty in Paris shakes NATO's European pillar. The US relies on France for joint missions, counterterrorism, and standing up to Russia. Trade and economy. France is one of America's top trading partners, and a political crisis could hurt the EU economy, triggering waves that reach US shores. Diplomacy. French leadership sets the tone on key issues: climate change, Africa policy, and even relations with China. If far-right forces gain more control in France, American foreign policy will have to adapt quickly.
Democrats and Republicans alike are watching Europe closely, knowing that instability there often predicts trouble for US interests. France is not alone in its political struggles. Across Europe, Germany faces gridlock with its three-way coalition. Italy keeps switching leaders amid economic pain. Spain recently saw close elections with uncertainty ahead. The rise of populism and fading trust in traditional parties is a story being told in every European capital. Lecornu's resignation is the latest and possibly most dramatic episode in a continent-wide wave. Outside Europe, world leaders wasted no time weighing in. Washington, US officials called for stability and democratic continuity. Brussels, EU leaders expressed concern for French paralysis, worried about Brexit-like economic shocks. Moscow, Russian media gleefully predicted further European chaos. The world is watching France closely, not just because of its size, but because political shocks here tend to come with aftershocks everywhere. While headlines focus on political intrigue, it's everyday people who are feeling the turbulence most. France's unemployment is rising, inflation hasn't cooled, and crime rates have ticked up in major cities. Protesters on the streets say they're fed up with politicians who don't listen. Facebook and TikTok are flooded with posts blaming leadership for everything from high rent to rising energy bills. In interviews, some French citizens say they're considering moving abroad if things don't improve. That's not a good sign for a country proud of its culture, its history, and its democratic traditions. Where does France go from here? Let's break down a few likely scenarios. 1. Macron appoints a moderate as PM. The new leader tries to calm tempers, but risks being just another short-term fix. 2. Snap parliamentary elections. If Le Pen prevails, France's government could swing sharply to the right, with big changes on migration, defense, and relations with the EU. 3. Risk of constitutional crisis. If parliament remains split, France could face gridlock and repeated government collapses. 4. New social unrest. If citizens don't see meaningful change, more strikes and protests could erupt, threatening France's stability. Each scenario poses risks and challenges not just for France, but for the whole of Europe and potentially the US. This isn't just political gossip. France is at a crossroads, with its leadership crisis sending shockwaves across the globe. Will Macron's centrism survive, or will France tumble towards radical change? Will Marine Le Pen finally get the chance to lead in EU power? Can France recover its reputation for stability and progress? Global players are waiting for answers, but volatility and unpredictability seem to be the only certainties now. So what do you think will happen next in France? Is this the dawn of a new era, or just another chapter in Europe's ongoing political struggle? Here at the GeoInsight, we'll be tracking every twist and turn, from Paris to Washington and everywhere in between. If you found this deep dive engaging and informative, please like and subscribe to the GeoInsight. We bring you the stories shaping our world, so you're never out of the loop about tomorrow's headlines. Comment below with your thoughts. Will France bounce back, or is deeper trouble ahead? What impact will all this have on the US and global politics? Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more on the GeoInsight, where the world comes into focus.